Deadpool the animated series was cancelled back in 2018, but why? From every angle, this show seemed destined for success. Well, behind the scenes, I can tell you things weren't so smooth. The executives were racist. Donald Glover, thoughts on Taylor Swift were negative. And the leaked animated test footage, not even real. But to explain all this and make a lot more sense of it, let's go all the way back to the beginning. So, back in 2016, after the first Deadpool movie came out, Marvel saw that and was like, damn, that would make a great animated series. We have to compete with, like, Rick and Morty, so let's get this into motion. So, Marvel TV approached FX with this opportunity to make an adult animated Deadpool series. FX loved it. While Marvel was pitching, they talked on and on about Archer as being a huge inspiration for this show. And remember that, because this comes up later. Anyways, FX was like, yeah, we should get Donald Glover up in here. He's awesome. And Marvel was like, yeah, actually, that's a really good idea. He is awesome. He's worked on Spider-Man Homecoming and Ultimate Spider-Man. He's practically part of the family. So, Donald Glover was hired as showrunner of Deadpool the Animated Series in 2017. Along with him, he brought his brother, Steven Glover. They have the same last name. But then, they got to work. Donald Glover hired his entire writing room, which was apparently all black people, which is cool. He also wanted to make sure that his version of Deadpool was distinctly different from the movies. This, one, meant a different comedy style, and Ryan Reynolds wouldn't voice him. They went on to at least outline all the episodes of the show. We know one was about Taylor Swift, which may be one of the reasons the show got cancelled, but more on that later. And we know one was about yoga. Yeah, random. It was during this development time that the famous animated test sequence was created. But, as I said before, it's not even real. So, let me break this down for you. Marvel and FX needed an animation studio to do the show, obviously. But, they don't know which one. So, they get a bunch of different animation studios to create a small section of test animation. So then, FX and Marvel can sit down and decide which out of all of these test sequences is the style they want to go with for the whole show. It's like an audition phase for an actor. Titmouse was one of these studios, which is the one that did the test sequence we all know and love. But what is so interesting is they didn't even get the job. A different studio called Floyd County Productions got the job, who animated Archer. Yeah, see? Marvel just loves Archer so much. But what this means is everything that was leaked in the test animation sequence by Titmouse is completely inaccurate to what the show would actually become. The character design, probably not the same. The comedy style, definitely not the same, because they just took voice clips from the movie with Ryan Reynolds.
I promise this gets worse for you, big boy! I promise this gets worse for you, big boy!
The story of the small sequence wouldn't even be in the show because I doubt they got a script. The live action egg breaking thing when he hits that guy in the balls, that's cool, but that wouldn't be in there probably. Anyway, after all the work they had done, the show was cancelled in March of 2018. The PR reason as to why this happened given out by FX and Marvel was creative differences. But when studios say that, it usually means something way bigger was happening behind the scenes, which was definitely the situation here. Marvel also blamed Donald Glover's busy schedule, which Donald Glover straight up said a week later was a lie, and that they just kicked him off. And then he also decided to write an entire fake script for an episode, which has Deadpool visit Africa to save the lost white rhino. But in the process, kind of explains why he thinks the show got cancelled, which is basically Donald Glover just like talking through the character. Which I want to add is an extremely unusual thing to do, and it's kind of cool. It kind of means Donald Glover had the last laugh, at least until he deleted it. For legal reasons, I'm guessing. And then finally, Titmouse leaked the test footage that I was talking about before. Again, it is weird because they didn't even have the job. Maybe they thought if they leaked it and they got the show revived, they would get the job, but I don't know. Pretty weird situation. But as to the real reason the show got cancelled, let's go back to the fake script, because I think this is our best indication as to what the tone of the show would have been like. And Deadpool, who again is really just Donald Glover speaking through the character, gives us some ideas as to why he thinks the show got cancelled, which includes racism, his comedy style, excluding white people, making fun of Marvel, and the Taylor Swift episode, which, after reading the script, I would say are all slight contributors to the reason the show got canceled. Yeah, I think so. All right, everybody, let's start off with the racism. Okay, so here is a excerpt of the script. Do you think they canceled the show because of the racism? Sudan continues eating grass. That's the rhino, by the way. He's talking to a rhino throughout this episode, but it's not important. Deadpool continued. Yeah, but all the writers were black, and the references were pretty black too. I heard they went over the lunch budget ordering Jamaican food at least once a week. Sudan eats. You're right, Black Panther. Maybe we're alienating our white audience. No, we did a whole goat yoga episode. Damn, what was it? So yeah, that's when it's brought up in the script, and you know, after reading the rest of it, I have come to the conclusion that yeah, Marvel probably isn't racist, like overtly, but yes, maybe a tad out of touch. Throughout the script, Deadpool says stuff like y'all or woulda, and then references like Tekashi 6ix9ine and rapping. And yeah, if you're old, maybe that sounds black or like yeah, too black, but in reality, that's kind of just young people talking these days, or I guess young people talking in 2017. And sure, Deadpool says the references were pretty black, but I understood everything in this script just fine. And I don't know if you knew this, but I'm not black. And, Stephen Glover even said in an interview later on that the show, quote, wasn't too black. It really wasn't that black at all, end quote. So I think in reality, it's just old TV executives being out of touch. A little bit old. Rotting away. Not in with the times. Cringe. Like, there's literally Castaway jokes in this script, and I wouldn't say Castaway is like an iconic black movie or anything, but again, I don't know, because I'm super white. And moving on to the comedy style, another reason the show probably got canceled. All right, this is when Deadpool brings it up in the script. I mean, I get it. Maybe they just want to sell toys, and this style of comedy isn't it. It's more, haha, but I'm mad. I get that. I think this may be one of the bigger points of contention Marvel had with this show. If you watched the movies with Ryan Reynolds, he kind of just references movies the whole time, and that's the comedy.
So dark. You sure you're not from the DC universe?
But in this Deadpool, he drops more topical references. Donald Trump gets brought up, police brutality comes up a couple times, school shootings, pedophiles, Bitcoin. Not exactly, funniest home video moments. Okay, now, making fun of Marvel. What? The Marvel stuff I said in it? All I said was Marvel was trying to sell toys to 7-year-old boys and 50-year-old pedophiles. That's just funny. They're cool, they get it. Yeah, they probably didn't like that, not gonna lie. There's nothing else about insulting Marvel in this episode, but if they did it throughout the rest of the show and they said that, they probably weren't chill with it. Okay. I think it's time to address it. The one confirmed reason this show is canceled. The Taylor Swift episode. The Taylor Swift episode? Nah. They had to have loved that script. Are you freaking kidding me? That episode's hilarious. I actually think this is genuinely the reason. Stephen Glover even in an interview said this episode was definitely, quote, the last straw, end quote. Calling it, quote, hilarious, end quote. But yeah, the main point is that it was the last straw. This probably got the show canceled. I don't know what they said. There's really no way of knowing at all what they said. We can't figure it out. Donald Glover's never really said anything about Taylor Swift outside this show, so I don't know. What do you think he did? It must have been crazy. So to answer why the show was canceled, it was probably just a combination of everything we just talked about. But mostly the Taylor Swift episode for some reason. I guess they got crazy. I think the show was probably more dicey than Marvel wanted in the end, and that's the reason why they made like a tree and leave. Anyways, please subscribe if you made it all the way to the end. You gotta think I'm okay if you're still here. it's getting on 10 minutes, so yeah, please subscribe. Anyways, I'll catch you on the flip side.